Well, they don't wear capes, but there was a once upon a time where no one doubted the heroism of that of Astralis. And now they're going to have to kick it off here against Team EnVy in Group A's opener right here for the CORSAIR DreamHack Masters. Welcome back, everybody. This is where it all begins for the group stages. Best of ones, first 4 matches of the day will be that, followed by 2 best of 3s. But Astralis, now they will be coming into this one a heavy favorite. Welcome back. My name is Trace, alongside of Christine and Jacob. We're going to walk you right down what is going to be the first matchup of this tournament.
It's going to be the heavy favorite in Astralis taking on EnVy, who, let's be honest, we don't really know what to expect from the guys from EnVy. It's a team that we don't normally see at a tournament out of this prodigy. It's a team that hasn't, really produced any results whatsoever in the big scheme of Counter-Strike. So this will be a big chance for them to showcase to the world that they can play Counter-Strike at a relatively high level.
And let's just go ahead and do that right now by taking a look at Group A, because there's a whole entire group here for them to just kind of walk through on their own pacing, but they've got to start with EnVy.
They do, and I mean, Astralis, as Jacob mentioned, this is going to be such a tough match for EnVy. They've been coming in with rebuilding rosters, and as we think back, JDM was that main opera on that EnVy lineup, and now Nifty has taken over that role. They've just picked up a new player in Ryan, a very young player, 18 years old from North America, and I mean, this is a project that's in the works. Hopefully they come in prepared for this best of 1. That is a positive light at the end of the tunnel for EnVy coming into this matchup, so that's really the one thing that's shining for EnVy.
Well, I mean, even for EnVy, if you are sitting back there, if you're watching the the ESL1 New Yorks, you're saying, okay, well, Astralis can be beaten, and it's proven. The EG did it. Maybe we can do it too. But when you look at the pound-for-pound comparison of the 2 teams and who they're playing against and the caliber of teams that they're playing against, this can't get any easier for EnVy.
It can't for Astralis, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because for pound, as you mentioned, it is kind of pretty lopsided at the moment. I mean, if EnVy bring into this game and come into it with their fundamentals and they try to play the tactical side of things, I don't see it coming out very pretty for EnVy. I think they've got to attack this with just getting messy, getting loose, and utilizing their individual mechanics to try to force trade, simple math, and get into those post-plant positions, because if EnVy run into this with their fundamentals and they try to play perfect CS, it's going to get not pretty for them.
Let's talk about the map right now, because maybe, just maybe, there's a world where this works out for EnVy. But we're going to start talking about the vetoes, and we're going to do it with a rather quicker pace here as we look across at this best of 1. Again, narrowing it down to 1 map will be these 2 teams.
And it's a question, where do you go if you're Team EnVy? Obviously, Inferno is not the answer, and that makes sense. Despite Astralis, they got mauled down by EG in that grand final in New York. Inferno is not a map you want to go up against Astralis. Interesting it is to see that Nuke, it's really been one of those maps where Astralis, right, they had that big win streak. Again, we saw it in New York. That's not a map they play well right now. They lost a lot of games on Nuke, so that's not one you want to bring into a best of 1. I could imagine that we're going to find some middle ground here. Dust 2 is not out of the question. I think that's a very open map for both teams, and I think, no, Astralis is not willing to play it. Well, fair enough, but then we do get to see Train, a map that Astralis, as of recently, have implemented in the map pool, but I would actually say, given, the circumstances, I think EnVy can be relatively happy with this veto, because, yes, Astralis is a strong Train team, but it's not a map they're known to be strong on, or at least they haven't been for a long period.
You're absolutely right, and I mean, in this best of 1 series, these teams, they can generally narrow it down to those 2 maps that they foresee being played out. And so I'm sure EnVy have had that Train at the top. They're understanding that this is probably one of the maps that they're going to have to come down to. And that prep on that map, as we mentioned, they cannot play fundamental CS. They have to play fundamental CS, but they cannot approach it with defaults and trying to every round achieve that perfect round. They've got to be able to get in their Astralis' faces and make them a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, there is one team that does put the fun in fundamentals, and that would be Astralis by just about winning everything. I'm kidding. We're going to talk about this team in depth right about now. Dupree, Zipnex, Glaive, Device, and Magisk. These are no strangers to the top tier of Counter-Strike. These guys pretty used to being here. Battling through group stage might be their toughest part so far. But one player that I have to highlight, one player that sticks out from that of New York would be Magisk.
Yeah, and he's been playing really great as of lately, right? You can say that some of these players are the best in their roles. Device, potentially one of the best AWP players. Glaive, one of the best in-game leaders. But Magicboy is also one of the best in his role. He does a lot of groundwork for his team, right? You're going to see him being close up. You're going to see him be aggressive with the rifle. You're going to see him try to create a lot of space for his teammates. And Magicboy is usually a guy that when he's playing well, then the rest of Astralis is playing well as well. Whereas if he's having a tournament off, well, that's when Astralis seems a little bit weak in that sense. So I would love to see Magicboy Boy play the same way he did as in New York. This is a great clip, for an example, right here. He's in Pop Dog. 2 guys is going to drop down. You see a lot of players, they're not going to be able to get 2 kills there. But Magic Boy, he was feeling it during that final. And if he can do that again today against a team like EnVy, we're not going to see Magic Boy just having a good time. We're going to see him absolutely demolish Team EnVy.
I gotta definitely agree with that. And I mean, I'm looking over at Glaive. He's had such a monstrous performance as an in-game leader. It's certainly not something that we're used to seeing. We're not used to seeing the in-game leaders at the top of the scoreboard. But in New York, that's exactly what we saw a lot of the times. Glaive was at the top, competing with the Magics and the devices of the team. So I think that bodes really well for Astralis coming into this, having their in-game leader feeling really good and hitting his shots.
Well, there's one thing about Device also coming online, because he's had a period of slow starts. He's even said it in interviews, you know what, like, hey, you got a slow start, kind of got carried a little bit here. But I don't think that this is necessarily the matchup where they're going to have to worry about that. However, when we flip the script, when we turn the pages, when we look at Team EnVy, they've got about 5 monsters to worry about on the side of Astralis. Let's just go ahead and take a look at Team EnVy as a whole. And perhaps, Jacob, give me a rundown of this roster.
I mean, Ryan, Som, Nifty, Fuckley, and Android are the 5 players we got going right here. And I think there's one in particular you want to focus on, and that would be Nifty. A guy that came from Renegades. A guy that, at a certain point, you know, many players and many guys like me, experts, or whatever we call ourselves, we thought that he would be the next big deal in the American Counter-Strike scene. Let's not forget, he left Renegades in order to join Team EnVy because he thought that would be a better move career-wise for him. As it turned out, it hasn't really been all, you know, good for him. He hasn't really been playing up to the level that you'd expect to. EnVy hasn't found any success, whereas if you look towards Renegades, that's a team that is qualifying for major playoffs time and time again. So he has a lot to prove right here, and he has the skill set as an individual player. We just haven't seen it transpire yet.
And I mean, as a team that comes from North America, you look at some of the players that they play against. I mean, we're going to run some footage here from Nifty and the Renegades, but that just feels like a year, 5, 10, 25 years ago that even happened. The reality is this. EnVy need to show up here, and they need to show up in a big way, Christine.
They definitely do, and I mean, we're looking at this lineup. I'm thinking about Fugley. You know, this player, he's found a lot of domestic success within North America, but over the past few years, he hasn't had that much success internationally, and he's a player that's played with the best in North America. He was on Liquid, he was on NRG, and he had long tenures on these teams, and so he's going to be that veteran, that foundational player that's going to help EnVy make all the points connect here.
I agree, but we need to see Nifty, as we just saw on the clip right here, the aggressive orbing, the deciding orbing, the moving around, the constantly being an annoyance to your opponents. That's the Nifty we gotta see, and he gotta do it against a team like Astralis. That's a tough task, but without him being, you know, assertive, without him creating a lot of space and getting a lot of kills, basically, there's no chance EnVy is even making this game competitive. So Nifty is, to me, the guy to watch. Obviously, you can talk about Fugley, you can talk about Som as well, but if he's not playing well, the guy on the screen right here, there's no chance to make it competitive.
I gotta agree with you, and I've got to add Android into the mix as well. Android is a young player that, well, he's not so young anymore, being 24 years old, but he had some success at that Faceit Major with Complexity. He had some nice clutch rounds, a lot of good openings, and so, but then afterwards, he hasn't had that success again. He hasn't rebounded, and so he's definitely going to have to show up at this debut for this new lineup.
Yeah, it is a debut of sorts, and it's going to be the debut of us asking you to put your Twitch votes in the Twitch chat using hashtag AST for Astralis or hashtag EnVy. We used to call them pound signs back in the day. I guess we just hashtagged everything now. Either way, drop them in the chat. Let us know who you're rooting for, who you think is going to win, because that's how you get involved on the vote here. We got Glaive up on the screen. The reality is, when we look at Astralis, there's just about a hard time to find a weakness here for EnVy to exploit.
And that's a good point. If you look at the ratings that transpired during New York, I think Dupree was the highest rated player. He was sitting at 1.10, then followed by Device 1.08, Glaive 1.07. All of these players were so close, and that, you know, that's a blessing in disguise that you have a team where all 5 players can perform at a high level. But it was also the biggest problem they had during New York, that none of these players stepped up to the next level. There wasn't a Device going off with a 1.30 rating like Breeze did, for an example, in the finals. So Astralis, they're going to be just fine against a team like EnVy. There's no doubt that when you have no weak link, it's going to be tough for EnVy to break in. But if we look Astralis long picture-wise in this tournament, some of these guys need to step it up a notch. We need to see Device playing, you know, MVP form. We need to see Siblings do all these clutches. We need to see Dupree being one of the best entry fraggers. Otherwise, Astralis they're good. They're probably going to make the playoff, potentially a semi-final or final. But if they want to win the entire thing, we need to see them get off to a good start here and start dominating the games as they used to in 2018.
We just heard Zonic in that interview speak about their jet lag. It's only been, what, 24 hours since they've arrived here in Sweden from New York. And so that's definitely a factor that EnVyUs are probably considering, because they were able to watch Astralis and EG and all the top teams perform in New York, and there hasn't been a lot of adjustment time period for these teams. So EnVyUs were spectating, they were writing down their notes, and their coach actually, in Ellie on the EnVyUs side, he's very involved in the preparation for the teams, and so hopefully they've got something planned special for us.
And I can't wait to ask you guys for your predictions, because I know you're going to pick EnVyUs. And maybe assumptions. You know what they say about assumptions? It'd be like if I assumed that Malmö was pronounced Malmö, right? Which is, I'll get there. Don't worry, it'll get there. But for the time being, I need your predictions in this best of one. We're going to start with you, Jacob, in the end.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt here, right? It's going to be an Astralis victory. Question is if it's going to be a competitive game or not. I hope that EnVyUs can show us something. I hope that Nifty comes out hot and blazing, make sure that they give EnVyUs a belief that when they go down in the best of 3 games in the lower bracket, which is where they'll be after this game, then they can make it competitive. Astralis is obviously going to win this one. There's no doubt about it. It is the second, potentially the best team in the world, taking us number 40 in the world. So it would be potentially one of the greatest upset ever if EnVyUs were to pull this off.
I have to agree with Jacob. I'm going with Astralis on this one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty simply put, right? If you just think about this matchup overall, yes, there is a chance for EnVyUs to come out here and maybe catch the jet lag bug and just really exploit that. But it ain't going to happen. Not today. No, it's got to be Astralis. You have to use some rationale here, and you have to think, okay, this is the best team in the world, or at one point still had the capability of it. And then when you look at the matchup there, it's just so lopsided. I mean, we're talking about, maybe a heavier kid on one side of the seesaw.
That's one way to put it, Trace.
I was just trying to think of like uneven.
You tried. But yeah, you're right. When you have so much skill, stacked up on one lineup and so much experience, despite the jet lag, despite everything, you can try to pinpoint a few things where you say, right, Astralis are maybe not good in this area, but there's so much, that tells that Astralis are just one of the best and most consistent teams in the world. There's no way they're going to drop a best of 1 to a team like EnVyUs, unless they all of a sudden come out and play some of the greatest Counter-Strike we've ever seen these players play all together at once, and that's a little bit too much to ask for, isn't it?
Never say never, though, Jacob.
That's true.
Because right now,
Justin Bieber, huh?
Yeah, yeah, man, basically. Let's run those Twitch chat results and see what you thought at home. Here's how the numbers broke down. And some of you might have actually lost your minds. That's completely fine. What would you say to the 23%?
I think the timing. What time is it in NA? Oh, no.
Everybody's just up late?
Yeah, they're up late in the evening. But, I mean, I got to agree with Jacob here. I think EnVyUs' goal and objective coming into this matchup is just to make it competitive. Yeah. Get themselves into this tournament, get some rounds on the board, really start feeling their game plan, and so that going into that lower bracket, they actually can make things competitive for themselves.
Yeah, and competitive is what we can hope for in this matchup. We paint the picture of it being very lopsided, but the reality is this all starts right here for the CORSAIR DreamHack Masters in Sweden. And I, for one, am excited to get it all underway as we do look forward into our first matchup of Astralis versus EnVyUs. Will it be too tough of a task to handle for EnVyUs? That's going to be the big question, but to answer it for you will be our commentators in Henry G and Machine.
Thank you so much, Trace. Y'all are looking great over there. I have to say it, I couldn't tell that Trace has been in New York just last week.
Oh, is he
last
in New York?
Week? Can we try again?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Well, it's the same story for Astralis, of course, as well. This is going to be an interesting inaugural game to kick things off here. Good news is it's Train. I think that's a wise move from Astralis here. They had the option to send it to Dust 2, but I think it's a bit too open considering we know how slow they are to get to tournaments, Alex. They do struggle sometimes to get the first few rounds on the board. So a tactical map like Train, they can slow the pace right down. They will be starting the T side. They're obviously the heavy favorites going into this one, but it'd be nice to get a bit of a scouting mission here on EnVy and see what they're presenting in this tournament.
Yeah, making the roster change, seeing what Ryan can deliver as well. And on top of that, I think as well, it's worth mentioning that Train is the map we saw Astralis find success on versus the Evil Geniuses over in New York in that finals. It's been back-to-back finals for the Danes as well. Not forgetting that. We did see not only Berlin, but New York successful for the Danes to the point of those grand finals. Lifted the trophy, that's why there's a 4th star on the back of that Zipex jersey. And of course in New York, had that taken away from them. So humbled somewhat. Straight back into the action though, with the CORSAIR DreamHack Masters live from Malmö. And it will be starting very, very shortly. Just having the final huddle. Admin's going to give them the nudge, and so they will jump in. I always wonder what they're saying in these huddles. I imagine it's nothing more than some sort of pre-rehearsed hype phrase. Stewie told me his and I've already forgotten it, but not much can be said in those final moments.
Well, Astralis, this has to be a statement game from themselves. Obviously disappointed, licking their wounds from New York, but the good news is the only map they picked up. was Train against.
And my own levels.
The only map they picked up was Train in that grand final. So it's good news in terms of how things are looking for them overall. Really interested to see what Nifty can do on a map like Train. It's Northwest Paradise, and he's got some great new talent here. He's kind of the captain of this squad. He is the grizzled veteran. It's difficult to say that considering how young he is, and only really been on a massive team like Renegades. Didn't have a huge amount of success. There's some interesting tournaments. He was back at Sydney last year, was his swan song, I suppose. But hoping to replicate that form, he's going to have to against these guys.
He really is. And he has got a good team around him, team that will respect his calls. He's a very, I think he's ahead of his years in a lot of ways. Not only in gameplay, but in his attitudes and in his leadership and his approach to leadership. And it looks like we're going to be just about ready to be jumping into the action. For those of you that have just joined us, EnVy Astralis, the opening game of the Corsair DreamHack Masters Malmö. I'm Machine, he's Henry, the map is Train, and it's time to get this one underway. So strap yourselves in, tell your friends, Counter-Strike's back on the menu.
Oh yes.
And it's time to see what the T side of Astralis looks to start with.
Well, inside is a very viable option. That's exactly why Astralis are heading. You normally guaranteed a bomb plant with this approach. They've got themselves a couple of smokes, a Molotov for connector, and they could also go outside with the 2 smokes either side of the bomb train. We'll see which way they're inclined, as we'll see EnVy with a pretty much heavy stack towards outside. They only got Fugly watching towards inner. He's all the way at the connector as well. So more retake mentality towards this side of the map. Got that USP in hand. As we said, they've got smokes. Usually using the Molotov towards the connector, or you can save it for the post-plant situation as well. First smoke thrown towards inside, and it looks like they'll be committing off that. So it takes away a lot of vision here from Fugly, trying to deny the plant the best he can, but won't be able to do that as they push closer and closer towards that connector position as Dupree looking for that first frag.
My goodness, EnVy, they're going to group up and go through the backtracks. It's going to be a long and arduous task just to get back into the site. Good lineup from Fugly. He'll be smoking off at the top side. But they've had so much time to dig their heels in. Glaive, he's spotted, makes his presence known as well with some shots. Device just still tucked in, and here they come from Oil. Using the angles of the train. That's the first blood drawn. Dupree and Device delivering. Nifty's tagged up as well. That needed to be a frag from Hupper. It's going to be Fugly. Last man standing already tagged. Does get the safe descent thanks to the use of the train, but that's all that can be said. Bomb plant, round 1, dream start from Astralis.
Lovely work there. Nothing too technical to report as we saw the inside execution. 1 smoke down there to deny initial vision from Fugly. You saw how effective that was. Once the bomb was planted, it was EnVy going for the full retake there. Fugly saving his smoke for the upper ramp. It was a nice idea, but once the bomb's already planted, you got 5 players to take down. It seemed like too tall of an order. EnVy will take a full eco in response. He'll be buying up next round of rifles, and you can see 3 of those in the hands of Astralis here. So even with M4s and basic utility next round, they're still going to have a very rough time trying to win out in that next round. Astralis objective here, of course, just to keep it as clean as possible. Inside, still a very viable position to go. Upper ramp, usually the main point of access, considering you have the bird's eye view of the bomb site. But they're going to be focusing towards lower here. No one there whatsoever. Smoke towards connector from the Pop Dog room, so that's absolutely wonderful. Going to have full control, round guaranteed at this point. Wow. It's just whether they keep it clean.
Yeah, this is perfect. You can't ask for a better POV if you're Zipex. The smoke's on Z. You've got the SMG pushing up close. He'll get the silent descent and likely going to pocket himself some cash here. Android's back was turned. Fugly can't quite trade. Does get the dink though. Ryan could finish off what his teammate started, but not if Dupree has anything to say about it. And so the guaranteed round is confirmed. And Nifty does manage to get hold of the Galil of Magist though, so he'll be looking to keep that into the next round and does safely Scarper towards Ivy. So there's some benefit out of the full eco. You can't really complain.
Yeah, the rifle for Nifty is excellent. He'll be able to use that next round, keep his money strong. That's if he survives, of course, but it will be Astralis. That's okay. Ideally, wouldn't be one of the rifles going. That's going to be a significant loss, but absolutely fine. They can definitely buy up on the next round. Zipex can drop you, so you've got $5,000. You've got a couple of kills with that Mac 10 yielding $600 per kill. Round 3 coming in, and we'll see Nifty with the AWP actually drops the Galil, so they're going to have a nice strong buy here. We'll see if Nifty can get things done. We want him to perform here. He is going to have to be that in-game leader, that captain. Yeah. We'll see if he can pull it off as we head into what will be a difficult run. You can see they've got 2 players without helmets, means the Mac 10 and UMP are going to be very viable here. 3 AKs overall, and going for a little bit of main focus here with the initial utility being thrown. Molotov's down, and it will be Device to work towards the Ivy position. Dupree waiting for aggression towards main entrance. Android to patrol the Ivy position, and Ryan has already taken a boatload of damage at the start. We saw lots of grenades towards the initial bomb site over in New York, Alex. That was very effective, especially from EG, if you remember. Yeah,
I remember the double kill. That was ridiculous. Good suppressing fire from Ryan, though, in return. Low HP doesn't dissuade him from taking that wallbang. Very safe to do so on top of that bomb train. Hovering towards PopDog. Now, a conversation we've started recently is about the way in which PopDog has taken. Astralis tend to have had a tendency for double mollying it. No presence in the Molotov from Zipex. It would only just be the one from Glaive should they want to vie for that control. Som down there. But the double stack drop has been a conversation we've been having, actually, Henry, and how little success we've seen from it as of late.
Yeah, it hasn't looked good. We call it the totem drop, and it was quite a novel idea when it first came in, but I haven't seen many players get a lot of success from it. So it'll be Glaive going down first. It will be dropped. That's the bomb, you're right. So that's going to be a difficult one to recover. Good start for EnVy here. Nice Molotov, but Device with a better shot. Working in tandem here from main entrance and the PopDog itself. You can see the CT's trying to keep alive here and trying to hold onto the bomb. Nice work from Som. Decent idea, but overall dupreeh outplays him with the smoke and gap presented. 3 versus 2 now. No kits available. Nifty still has the AWP. 19 seconds remain, but it looks like that bomb will be going down no problem. Towards Ivy, Nifty resides, but Device has got his number. As soon as he fires a shot, that's when he swings, or when he throws the grenade. He's just waiting for his chance here. It looks like the round should be done, but the bomb does get dropped.
8 seconds,
Real good chance here.
6 seconds.
I think they can still get the plant down. They will. And it doesn't matter regardless. That's really nice work from Device. Very aware and present in every situation there. Didn't overcommit, didn't panic. With the timer running so low, they managed to bait out the remaining CTs with the plant coming through, and it will be 3-0. We knew that round was going to be difficult. That was the real key moment there. You can see them focusing on the bomb. It would have gone down regardless, just to know that. As long as it reads 4 at the top when the plant commences, you're absolutely fine. So with maximum loss bonus next round, all they can do really here is take a partial buy. CZs, 5-7s, and some Kevlar.
Yeah, you can see Glaive taking the initiative. He knows that their buy will be limited, no utility or AWPs to worry about, and so can get himself out set up on Olof. Nice and quick. Jumping for info. Device does catch a glimpse of one, and another crossing towards the stop. That should be a frag. It's a tag instead. Glaive, he hasn't checked behind him. There is a player that could catch a glimpse. It's Som. Weapon will be retrieved. Did cost him half of his life, though. Does have Kevlar vest to make that rifle useful, but dupreeh has a chance to really rip the rug from underneath him. Som makes the AK connect. It's magic gone. Numbers now favouring EnVy. It's their best shot, admittedly. Still an unarmoured leader in the form of Nifty, and Zipex has made things more difficult. That was the rifle.
Yeah, it's a really strong shot, but nice positioning here, but Device so aware. You can see he's in the zone right now. That's an influential frag. The AK has been removed as well. It's going to be difficult to recover for the CT side. 1 minute on the clock, Fugly and Nifty. Unfortunately, the latter with just the USP, but he has got a decent position here. Throws out the pistol. Device. Oh, he spotted him. He's going to get the frag now, no problem. And it will just be Fugly who's made noise, and his days are very numbered indeed. He knows it. We know it. Does Zipex make the frag? He certainly does. Great stuff. 4-0. A nightmare start for EnVy. This had to be the other way around for me to start believing they had a chance here. And we'll see the next gun round come through. Potentially a double op setup on the agenda for EnVyUs here. Nifty purchases the first one. We want to see a lot more out of Som as well. He's been he's had a big reputation around him. He's in Complexity when he was first signed as a pro player, and he's kind of got that mentality of a young star around him. I want to see whether he can live up to the hype. It seems kind of akin to what Obo has at these points, right?
Yeah.
There's the double orb setup. A droid, also a former Complexity player as well. See what he can do with it. And Fugly to hold inside a classic position for him, anchoring by himself for now as they throw the Molotov towards the upper ramp, trying to push back any AWPers that go in that position as they run their default.
Jumping across, trying to bait the shots. Glaive making plenty of noise, no secret. Som beneath him. Ryan, he clearly has his objectives. He knows this is where Astralis like to line up their utility. It's not wrong. The occasional suppressing fire, you can see it's keeping Zipex and Glaive with their attention towards Som. Good shot. Finds the head through the floorboards. Smoke to ensure the drop can't come in. The trade is unavailable now, at least through the ball. Oof. Glaive, he's certainly got the lineup, and Som, he's taken more shots from elsewhere. dupreeh's, oh, he's cooked. That's the end of Som. Uses the smoke to cower. He can't. Rock in the hard place, and he opts for the first. Good shot from Android, needed that with the double AWP.
Yeah, certainly did. That's not bad. He's being very combative here towards the E-box, and he has to be. Great shots. He's actually doing fantastic work here. 4 versus 2, but dupreeh in a dangerous position for the CTs here, waiting, looking towards the bomb site and connector. Ryan is available to himself if he can step out of position. But Nifty will find the penultimate frag. You can hear what it means to them. They're up for it.
Yeah.
And they save 2 AWPs and 2 rifles as well, so that's fantastic stuff. Astralis won't be broken just yet, but they are being whittled away at. Majors down to 3,900. Here's the replay of this great stuff from Android. He knew he had to take matters into his own hands there, Alex. They were dropping in numbers, so he manages to get up close and personal. That's the shot that wins around for me. Majors had one hell of a tournament over in New York. He looked deadly. As now we'll get into round 6. The AWP in the hands of Device. No utility for Majors, and we'll see if they can pull one back.
Gonna have to string some together. especially here on the CT side of Train. Astralis, Train isn't a map they get to see too much when they're meeting against their adversary Liquid.
Yeah, it's true. And they had to choose between Dust 2 and Train. And we've seen it before. If you think back to the Berlin Major, Vitality losing to, I think it was Dream Chasers, was their name?
Yeah,
Dream Eaters.
They eat the
Dream
dreams.
Chasers.
They were chasing their dreams.
They were indeed. But there's those sort of maps against teams you're not necessarily well versed against. You don't want to play Dust 2.
Yeah.
You want to keep it slow and to your pace. And you can see Astralis doing just that. There's no danger of aggression coming through. No one can really have an individual performance that's going to shut you down completely. So I like this from Astralis. Didn't give anything away. And we'll see Device jumping over. See if he can find that first pick. See if he Dupree to do so. But a nice trade from Som coming in. They'll manage to bring it back to a 4 versus 4. 1 minute on the clock. Magisk with the Krieg. He is such a menace with the weapon. No one actually watching that position close range. We've got Android at the AWP from the mid-stages of the bomb site. He'll be smoked off. That means the backtracks are now exposed. You can see him repositioning due to that fact.
It's going to be a pincer. Zipex from Pop. Deep smoke on EnVy does limit the CT options and enables a lot of control for Astralis. With 30 seconds, though, they are going to have to come towards EnVy, and it's going to be Glaive, the spearhead of this assault. Him alongside Magisk. Som's got a great angle and a good read as well. Glaive's going to walk straight. This cross there, the timing's bad. Android, however, connects, as does Som. Swinging into Magisk, and now the bomb's loose. 15 seconds, running out of options. Zipex, however, looking to find a way in. Has to get nifty here. Good connection from the North American AWP, and that's enough to save the round. And that will be the second for EnVy. Device to save the AWP.
There we have it. EnVy starting to show some character now. Again, they have 3 players surviving. Will we hear the almighty roar again? A bit more subdued this time. Oh, there we go.
There it is, yeah.
A few woos. That's what we like to hear. Nifty, he is one of those characters that does uplift the team, you know. He likes to make sure morale's high. He doesn't want to have any sulking, any grumpy guts over there. He's going to make sure everyone's going to be happy. And that's a nice work from Som. Good trade towards main entrance. And we'll see ourselves going to round number 7. And it's actually a force buy from Astralis. I didn't think they'd be presenting this just yet, but they did save the AWP, an AWP in the hands of Device, and an AK for Dupree. That could be enough. And we've talked about it before. Astralis, one of the most deadly teams in the world with Desert Eagle.
And Dupree's already out. Android wasn't ready, neither Som. A quick double kill. Dupree already on 11 frags, and he's not quite done yet. Ryan ensures a third is not possible.
Going inside.
And that's the reaction. They know the CTs are going to have sprung to action as soon as the 2 players were eliminated early. Fugly, oh, that had to be a kill. Already the numbers will be waning.
Oof, he falls back off that one, so they're going for a retake kill to save the weapon. Jacob said he wanted to see Dupree with a strong entry potential, and he certainly delivers at all fronts in that particular round. He runs towards the main entrance, out by E-Box, 2 quick frags, one very impressive one towards that Ivy spot. Now Majors just trying to hold them at bay here as best he can. He can see him baiting and Zipex there as well, so he'll try and hide the best to his ability. That's actually nice work from Ryan. I don't think they win the round off this, but still, great effort. Got to get closer and closer now. Devices gets one of these frags. That should be it. They've got flashbangs available too. That's the kill to win the round, Alex. So it's going to be nifty now having to save the weapon. Force buy works out in spectacular fashion for Astralis there. One-man army in the form of Dupree making his way through with the AK-47. Crisp shots and a nice reaction as well. That couldn't have gone better for them. The objective there was Dupree, go and cause a ruckus outside. See what you can pull from the inner area. Once he gets 2 frags there, you can guarantee that at most will be 1 player towards.
We saw it in the grand final as well. It's something Astralis like to do. They sent Glaive out on Olof, and he was just pumping his utility, trying to apply pressure in the same kind of fashion, then hitting inner as the CTs react. It requires frags, and, well, Dupree certainly delivered that. Quick 2 headshots. The first onto Android really caught him off guard. He was not expecting a threat that early from that angle.
Yeah, absolutely true. Just to bear in mind, this is the first game of the tournament, best of 1 in the upper bracket. Things get a little bit dicey down the lower, considering the caliber of teams here. Not the best start for EnVy in terms of matchups here, but you've got to prove yourself in the seeding system, show your worth. This is the first big tournament for them in this lineup. Want to test the water, see how it feels. Not looking too good so far, but I don't think anyone really had them, causing a massive den against Astralis. Like Jacob, I agree with Jacob. If this is a competitive game, they'll be happy with that. They can get to double digits. That's a win in my book.
Yeah, certainly, likely in theirs. Can be seeing the outside smokes rain in. Let's see that POV. You can see all the necessary smokes arriving from all the different angles. Look at that. A wall. And actually an interesting response from the CTs. They throw a smoke themselves deeper to avoid any pushing through the smoke. It's a long grey screen, easy to get lost. But so much control gained by Astralis early. There's 4 players from the Danish side already out on this site with 90 seconds still on the clock.
Yeah, overwhelming. You see them getting closer and closer to that bomb site. Damage inflicted as well. The Masters of Utility doing a great job here, just dissecting the outside area. Not panicking, not rushing, but they have run out of smokes now. Still need to get that plant down, as it will be Dupree waiting with the bomb by E-Box here, hoping to get the first frag if possible. Just the MP9 to defend there on the outside. Bomb site's going to be Android, the first frag towards EnVy. Bomb now getting in position, but device fully flashed off. Nice work from EnVyUs.
Nice boost. Got him up on Z, enabled him to catch the device off guard. A flash was there in support. Magis, though, not only does the bomb go down, but so does Nifty. Could be good. Fugly looking to extend their lead. EnVy just need 2 frags for the defuse for the third. Magis, however, on E-Box, he is a turret, especially with the Krieg. It's double kill already. He's on for the ace. That will be silenced by Fugly. Leaves 1v1. Fugly to save the day. Glaive looking for a second frag of this round. Does just have the Desert Eagle M4 on his back. Perhaps doesn't have a magazine at the moment. Will stick to the side. Arm pushes in. That was his chance. Fugly can win it. He has the time, has the kit. And that will be the third for EnVy. Valiant start from Nifty. It's Fugly to close.
I didn't think Glaive was going to blink there. I thought he was going to bait out the Fade defuse. It looked like he was happy to do so. I think that would have been the better call for sure. He waited to the point where he wasn't going to full defuse and then comes around. He needed the 1-bullet headshot. You could see it was there, available to him. Not the easiest shot, but can't connect. 5-3. And money not in a great spot for Astralis, but the fact they got it down to 1 versus 1 there, I wouldn't be surprised if they did buy this. They're going to go for the more conservative approach. So Deagles, no armor, no nades, still allows them to buy next round. It would have been deeper into the half. I think they would have gone for this one, but happy to take it on the chin. Hopefully going to get a bomb plant down if they can, normally towards inside, as you can trade out at least 1 kill usually if you send everyone in towards that position. Fugly, nice push towards the upper ramp. We'll find Zipex, shotgun in the form of a Mag 7 holding Pop Dog.
I mean, there are certain positions on certain maps where that shotgun feels like a completely justified purchase. Pop Dog's one of them this round. Looks like it'll be concluded rather quickly. No armor, no real positioning from Astralis, and there we go, an extra $900 into the SOM bank account.
There we go. Shotgun, as you can see, very useful to use on the ladder.
What's your shotgun of preference, Hank?
The auto shotgun I do enjoy a lot. When it gets rolling, yeah, once you get that rolling in a decent position, you get the big spray downs. Mag 7's always been a lot of fun as well. And why it's so viable towards Pop Dog is because when you're on ladders, you get no accuracy at all. But if you sneak up with a shotgun, accuracy not really a problem. You just want to be shoving it down their throats. And we saw a lot of players over in New York pushing that ladder. Tarek's play comes to mind especially. As we have the fast outside approach here, running through the flames, Astralis picking up the pace here, trying to get close towards the bomb site. Device to open things up, but it's quickly shut down. Someone with the shotgun can hear footsteps near him. He's guaranteed at least a frag towards Zipex for a teammate, surely.
You say guaranteed. Yep, he ensures it. Catches Zipex on that push, and now Device left alone very early into this round. Astralis, they thought they had it. Nifty, his positioning towards EnVy, he mixes it up and it pays dividends. A triple kill fast into the round, catching him on the cross.
Yeah, I like the mentality of EnVy. They're really feeling it, cheering every round they win. It's going to be a little bit frustrating for Astralis. I'm sure they can hear it. And here's the shots coming in with the AWP. Nifty, fantastic work. We wanted to see him shine with the AWP, and he's certainly delivering on that front. Now, Varico on the cards here for Astralis. They've already had a decent half as it is. Like 5 rounds on the T side, they know that's more than serviceable for a team of their caliber, especially on their map pick. 7 would be ideal.
I'd like to apologize if you've heard us sniffing and coughing.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're having some tech issues there. Normally, that's not how I intend to sound, I promise. Normally I can press a button and you won't hear all of my coughing and spluttering.
It's endearing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can just imagine my Twitter now is just full of people saying, shut the hell up, Alex.
It's so disgusting.
You're gross. Operating under a false assumption, and well, no assumptions being made by EnVy here. They'll treat this one with respect, despite the fact it is just the Deagles. We've talked about this time and time again, though, Henry. Astralis capable of winning rounds off the back of this $700 investment with players like Dupree. Magisk not going to be able to make an impact this round. Does meet Ryan. Four bullets left for Android. He thinks it's going to be enough, and it is.
Enough. The last bullet required, but he lands the headshot. EnVyUs take the lead here, 6-5. On the CT side, it's exactly what they need. If they can get double digits, they're in a decent spot here, especially if they win the pistol in the second half. They've got to get there first. Astralis starting to slow down here somewhat. They've given up 4 rounds in a row. Remember, they were 5-2 up on one stage, so it's great work from EnVyUs. Looking like a solid team here, to be honest. SOM delivering, 10 frags for him at the very top. See Nifty there with 8. Everyone's actually contributing quite nicely after losing the pistol as well. So not too bad overall in terms of looking for that competitive game. Nice push as well. We're going to see Fug. They change things up. Zipex normally on the default, holding towards Brown Halls. He's been spotted. They'll fall back. Didn't get the initial kill they were looking for, but didn't take damage for us. That's absolutely fine.
Now Ryan posturing for some control of main. He has Som alongside him. It does look like that's going to be the mission. And as they clear it, that's information by the boatload. They'll be able to convey that to the CTs playing the inner site. They'll adjust accordingly. A smoke towards ramp deployed. And a slow walk, a crawl from the Astralis players disconnected from the pack. Nades from the CTs is an indicator that they've kind of sussed it out. But doesn't look like it's going to stop Astralis. A flash and a push. The Molotov could not be better. The timing, brilliant use of utility from Android.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see them all stifled down the lower ramp. This doesn't look good for Astralis at all. Android by just falls. His teammate will go down. It's down to the individual prowess of Astralis there. They get them through that difficult situation. It was looking very sticky there, Alex, with the incendiary deployed at the perfect time, but no even option to go for this one. They're going to have to hold up for exit frags here. They'll be valuable going forward because the money's so low on the Astralis side. Ideally, want to exit through the CT spawn position if possible. As you can see, EnVy posturing towards the bathrooms, looking for those exits as Nifty tucks himself in towards T-spawn. And it's a great shot from Som. So there it is. You can see them using the refrigerator, just waiting for anyone pushing out. And there it is. Now Astralis reading that situation, getting out through CT spawn. That's the way they should be doing it. That position's going to be too difficult to flush out on the other side. And they don't need to go hunting here. They know the money's strong enough on EnVy for a rebuy regardless. It's them as a breaking point. Need to keep everything up if possible, especially that AWP for device. Even after being completely sussed out in terms of their final commitment, managing to hit the very impressive shots. Device with the AWP, Dupree from the upper ramp of the AK takes down the Spools player, and it will be 6-6 here.
Yes.
Lots of cash.
Okay, cool.
You can sniffle now?
I can sniffle now.
Let me try.
Oh, it's quite the relief, isn't it?
I've been waiting for that my entire life, it feels like.
Wow.
There we go.
That's lovely. Okay, cool. So no more coughing and spluttering. We apologize.
Perfect.
And we're ready to get into the action. Didn't take long. Round 13 of our first map here. He wants to go aggressive. The Flames will lick him down to 79. But I think he wants to re-aggress. He wants to get that information. He's willing to take it dry. Just trying to hold the off angle, try and catch a T, perhaps even with a nade in their hand. Oh, this is it. Dupree's willing. It'll be a crouch peek. Nifty should have the advantage. Dupree admittedly coming in from the right eye peek. And the timing again is great from Som, executed. Would have been a grey screen right towards the final stages of his life. Clave's eliminated, and Device, he's just going to try and be the first man in on the site. That's ballsy. Up on the train. His bullet wasn't necessary because Dupree beat him to the punch, but now 4-4 and complete control. They haven't checked Nifty.
No.
Oh, and he's missed the sitter. That was his way in. Element of surprise completely squandered.
He was in such a fantastic spot. You can see him waiting to see what opportunities are available to him, and he pulls the trigger at the wrong time. That would have been Device down as well, who gets the second frag. It's a 4 versus 3 now. They know exactly where Nifty is. They have got a kit, but no smokes, no incendiary. Some will pull one back, 3-on-3 now, and Device trying to reposition. Actually getting a decent amount of frags here, doing damage towards Device at this point as well, but time is of the essence. Nifty needs to apply pressure here from the upper ramp as the defuse comes in. Can he do it? You can see him just picking his barrel out, just trying to do whatever he can at this point. Is the defuse coming through? I don't think it is. It looks like they've run out of time, even though it's a very decent effort. We'll have a look. Not going to happen. It's going to be Device to confirm things. Som is nowhere to be seen. He had to be closer than that. He was holding towards the connector for way too long. Either way, it's the Astralis picking up the round, and that's a very important one as well. As everyone goes down on the Astralis side, round 14 coming up, their money is going to be fine for this round. It might have a knock-on effect if they lose this one.
It's a rebought AWP for Device.
Yeah, indeed. But there we have it. Envious and Nifty going to be gutted with that one especially. He absolutely owned them there.
Yeah.
He was undetected. They thought it was clear. They took down the connector player. He could have denied the plant. He goes for the crucial shot on Device. If he hits that, no doubt in my mind they win the round. Not meant to be, unfortunately. 7-6.
Going to be no complaints from the Danes with 70 rounds here on train. Best of 1 to start things off. A reminder, the format familiar if you've been watching ESL 1 recently. Every elimination or qualification for the next stage of competition is best of 3. Best of 1's in the opener.
Yes, this is the upper bracket right now. Majors. Oh my goodness, that is just brutal. Android's had A face full of lead from the Krieg. He helps himself to the first frag, and now the rotations have to begin. They've got 3 players towards inside, Alex. Outside is completely open. Someone will have to smoke and sit back and wait, I'm afraid. As the Molotov is decent. He'll be actually dropped after finding 1 frag. Still advantage lies with the Danes. Bomb surely going down at this point. Round 14. The money will be in a very difficult spot. They give this one up. I don't think they can justify going for it.
Doesn't look like it. Damn, Magisk. How does he get that timing? Android, he was staring at EnVy initially, decides it's clear, decides he wants to get his eyes towards main, perhaps even from the utility thrown by Magisk's teammates, but he can just walk on out. Makes it look easy. Gets the frag on an unsuspecting Android.
Well then. AWP, 2 M4s, everyone holding towards the CT spawn position. Tried to go for an inside lean there. Didn't work out. I think they were trying to find Zipex at the start of the round in that default setup, but it was Magisk that presents the perfect counterplay there. He's noticed their tendencies towards EnVy hasn't been massively focused around pushing or managing to get an AWP set up at the very start. He just walked straight out and punished them for that fact, and it will be Astralis winning the half now. The cheers have gone down somewhat.
Certainly have been subdued for, I think it's 3 in a row now for Astralis. They opened with 4.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, strong rounds as well. Some close ones in there. But close doesn't really help out EnVy here. They ideally have to win this half. But they do have a nice buy for the final round of the first here. We're going to have a double up set up for Nifty and Android once again. They've both been fragging reasonably well, but Astralis overall in their teamwork and individual skill has been shining bright.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of rounds taken away from EnVy without, you know, any sort of, what's the word?
Pushback?
Pushback, yeah, I guess that's the way to phrase it. Nifty, however, is going to get caught as he hunts for device and no trade available, so the AWP is still now able to work his way towards the site. Great catch by Ryan off the bomb train. He does manage to double up. Glaive caught as well. If he retreats, instead, quite the opposite. Pushes straight to Zipex with his aim, gives them a way in. Fugly and Android then to defend. Bomb looks like it's retreating. Looks like a change of plan from Astralis. They're going to leave Zipex to go hunting. He's been caught, which puts Device in a rather tough position. Smoke does arrive on Z.
He does very well in these sort of spots, though. We'll see whether he can get the first frag. Got a minute to work with and the bomb on his back. Smoke and flashbangs available. The CTs ideally want to stay together towards that connector position and transition as a pack. As Device now can't really unscope, he's committed to this. Gets himself closer and closer to the site, opts to the Deagle instead. And this is nice. CT's playing this well, sensing the fact he could come towards a connector, and it's going to work out nicely. 8-7. EnVy will have a bit of a tall order going into the next half, but for now, we'll join Frankie Ward with some halftime insights.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henry Greer. Yes, I am here outside the players. Focus, quiet from Astralis. They know they've got the CT side coming up, yet they are not panicking. Meanwhile, the EnVy camp, last few rounds, unusually quiet for these boys. They're starting to maybe panic a bit, but with that round win, they're definitely going to be going into that pistol after the break, all guns blazing. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The CORSAIR DreamHack Masters continues. Day 1. We're live from Malmö, and it is going to be what you would expect from day 1 of a Masters tournament. It is the big dogs versus the vying underdogs. EnVy versus Astralis to start us off. I'm Machine, he's Henry, and we are into the second half of our first map. It is just a best of 1, and starting with an early trade back and forth. It's Device to receive now. First round on the CT side here on train. Let's have an ambitious plant from Som. Can't be challenged just yet. A couple of bullets do scrape him. Zipex will finish what Device started, but now the afterplant's a real challenge.
Well, there we go. As the 5-7 towards Pop Dog. Glaive going for the big spray down there at close range. Only good for 1, and now it's a 4 versus 2. Smoke available, but not for long. Dupree will die, but he did manage to drop the smoke first, and Android, he'll be swept under as well. It's going to be a convincing start here from Astralis in the second half. A fast approach from EnVy, the smoke down in front of the bomb train to enable the plant. Som did get it down, but he was detected, and Zipex picking up a very key frag there. 2 for Magisk. EnVy do get a plant. They can buy up in the next round with a couple of kills there. Means they can get 2 AK-47s, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screens. They could go for 3 in total, but it's more common to get 2 rifles out and have Deagles to go with it. We'll see what the overall complexion of the buy looks like. 3 rifles do appear, so it'll be up to Fugly to invest in some armor. So 2 Kriegs, 1 Galil, 2 Deagles. It's Ryan and Android that will be the sacrificial lambs here going into round number 2. Inside looks to be the point of approach. Walking in very quietly indeed. In terms of the CT setup, scout for Device, 3 M4s themselves. They know what's coming. They can feel it. And in terms of the inside hold, Zipex, one of the true masters of this spot with no utility, M4 and a helmet, as he'll sit back and wait. He's holding towards the upper ramp right now. Device will join him with a scout.
One tag was the mission, not quite achieved as they're allowed into the site. And Zipex, he's given him enough room, and that's all he wanted. 3 frags, looking for the 4th, and will do so with the USP. It's a massacre from Zipex. He said he is the master, and 4 in this round so far just completely nullifies EnVy's attempt to try and get that bomb down.
That was so well played. The fact Device doesn't get any tags is fine because they just assume he's there by himself, right? It's quite common to have a solo inside anchor. The scout misses a shot, but they try and rush that bomb plant down without clearing the key positions, and they get absolutely mauled. As Zipex picks up 4, he's still alive and kicking on for the ace of this stage, as Fugly won't have much to do here. He's got 45 seconds. He has got a Molotov, couple of flashbangs, but it would take an absolutely catastrophic mistake from Astralis to give him any sort of point of access here.
Yeah, with 35 seconds left as well, he's just kind of mulling over his options, and Molotov's close. Ensures he's not going to be assassinated as he initially approaches, but I think he's just going to try and hope and pray he gets another one fed to him by Astralis. But they don't make that kind of mistake, certainly not here. They want to try and keep this one tidy.
Wasn't the worst idea in the world from EnVy. The fact they had 2 Krieg go into one and a Galil as well, trying to keep it long range, and that would have worked. It was just Device there, sure. They would have got the bomb down, it would have been a difficult retake, and Zipex, even though utility, plays the perfect position. They all focus towards the lower ramp. If they had split that even a little bit, they could have taken him down quite easily, right? It wouldn't have been a problem, but trying to have that pounce mentality doesn't work out for them. Bomb planted, a Krieg save, but no extra money for Fugly, so you can't drop a weapon, and with $2,400 per player into the next round, I'm not sure they'll be able to do much with this, to be honest. Without the plan, the options are limited. Had they got that bomb down, extra 800 per player, they could have got Galils to go with it, but I think they'll take the full eco here. A couple of PT-50s, so $600 invested, 2 flashbangs available, as they'll try and get the bomb down in this round. It's very unlikely they deny Astralis 11th round.
Nice work from Som to get out early, and perhaps the element of surprise will be present. I can't believe Zipex goes upper there. He plays towards the upper side of inner. It's so common to see them on like the get right train, even on the bomb train. He tries something different, and you can see how it caught them off guard. They were all looking deep into the site. No one even considering a presence there early, because he essentially would have been in the open had anyone gone upper, but a lower ramp rush, it's the perfect spot.
Yeah, just 1 player towards upper.
So
would
smart.
have stopped him getting at least more than 2, but there we have it. It's going to be down to Fugly now. They'll slow things right down, try and bleed out some utility, see if there's any picks available. It's May just holding from the back of 5 train, watching towards EnVy, that very passive angle, as Som waits patiently for his teammates to cause a bit of chaos outside. Once they do towards EnVy, he'll be able to try and swing out. But Dupree's above him. He needs to be very aware of that. If Dupree checks all off, he is absolutely done for, but it doesn't look like he's cognizant of that fact just yet. Majors, though, strong position. If he gets the rifle first, they're in a lot of trouble, which he does. They'll have to pick it up now, and it'll be in the hands of Android.
No health. No Kevlar, not the best man for the job. No one yet to fall. I was going to say that from Astralis. Man just caught though, and here comes Som. He's been playing the waiting game, and it's perfect. Doesn't mess it up. Catches one, but Glaive is there for the trade, and now Android uses the rifle to perfection. It's not a freebie for EnVy though. Up against 2. They've got all their utility, all their armor, all their weapons. Ryan running out of health. Does manage to pick up the bomb. It's not a plan he can go for though. Device and Zipex. Just Device, but he's already got 2, and now looking for his 3rd. Android looking for his 4th. No health, no hope. 11 now for Astralis. Good damage though, EnVy. They tried to make it pretty damn close, just not enough to close it out.
Yeah, unless they win that round, it doesn't really fill them with a lot of confidence, but still does whittle away at the cash of Astralis here. No tactical timeouts being used just yet. Money is there now for EnVy. Remember, Fugly got no cash previously after saving the Kriegs. He'll be down to just the UMP. Android will purchased a final rifle there as we head into round number 19. Double AWP setup. We saw more of this from Astralis, a team that traditionally didn't really have that as an option, but now have Dupree and Mages more than happy to use the weapon. Mages actually is a bit of a dark horse with him. Fantastic shot there to kick things off. Nifty continues that strong form with the sniper. First kill will be going in favor of the North Americans, but Glaive looking to respond quickly.
Great timing on the molly. Nifty keeps him away. Now the timings of that Molotov will give Glaive a gap in order to push in, and that looks like exactly what he's going to do. Staggering his Molotov with the one thrown against him enables him to take that control for free. That's just smart counter-strike. Smoke arrives now from Magis, keeps Android locked out. Ryan's alongside him. Very separated, segregated EnVy. Nifty's wallbangs aren't far off. Glaive positions himself exactly where the first bullet came from, hoping Nifty wouldn't return. He did, and a tag is found. Still sticking around, Glaive. He knows his presence is going to completely slow down any sort of EnVy assault, certainly from that side of the map. Som has his exit, and that will be converted. Big frag now from EnVy, looking for their 8th.
Yeah, this is looking very good, especially with Mages being so low. Device rattles off a shot towards the main entrance, and Mages, that secondary orb, has to step up here. They need multiple frags from this young man as he steps in position. Does fire off another shot towards E-Box. They get closer and closer. This should be overwhelming here. They've got to trade him out. If he hits this, they're done for. 3 versus 2. Oh my goodness, there's going to be Astralis taking the lead somehow. Nifty didn't have the cover required, and now will have to fall back. He's got the bomb on his back, but 15 seconds. He has to run inside and just hope for the best here. Zipex trying to beat him to the punch. Looks like the incendiary might be there in time, and it is, but he'll still get the plant down here. They'll have to get as close as they possibly can. Device with the AWP arrives in time. Got a couple of flashbangs available as well. They'll know Nifty has the AWP, and that's a fantastic shot now. 1 versus 1 against Device.
Battle of the Orpas, and Device is waiting for it. Nifty just presents his head. Device wasn't going to miss that one.
Takes the AWP as well.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't want that trash.
Okay, excuse me. I'll be taking this one back. Mine works better than yours.
Oh, that's a really disappointing situation for EnVy, though. They did such great work to get those initial frags. The advantage was there, and then all of a sudden they collapsed very quickly. The double AWP paying dividends for Astralis. 12-7. Here's the replay of Zipex working the backtracks, hitting the shots required as Mages to get that penultimate frag and really put them in a strong spot. And now money, even with the bomb planted, sits at around $4,500 as the tactical time after the first time. Called by EnVy, I'd imagine. They are going to buy into this one, but they are running out of time. There's Nifty on the screens right now, the captain and in-game leader of this squad, working out their next move. Som will purchase up the Krieg. Play resumes. In terms of the frag charge right now, it's Glaive, 4 and 14. We seem to have some interesting moments.
I'm going to say, yeah.
The fact he's had a few frags, he's run out of bullets and caught off guard a few times, hasn't had his best game, but it doesn't matter as long as his team wins, especially at this stage of the tournament. That's all that really matters.
It feels like the amount of times we've had interviews with Astralis players, and it's always the one that's underperformed who just gives credit to the remaining 4. There's always consistency from the majority with Astralis. That's what makes them so good. And speaking of Glaive, he's found his 5th. Android caught out of main. He wasn't alone on that exit, though, and Ryan does manage to catch him and trade out late.
Bomb down.
Zipex forced to back away. Get tagged up into Z. Nice work, though, from the rest of them. And the frags, they just keep coming in. Got a feel for the observers. Trying to keep the track of this action is impossible. Every single member of Astralis is just winning their individual duels.
Yeah, this is do or die time now for EnVy. You've got maximum loss bonus, 13-7 down. You have got somewhat of a buy there, but they're going to take the partial instead, as Som confirms that with the Tech-9 HE combo. They could get a load of HEs here and double them towards the bomb train. Just the one, a single smoke as well. To me, that suggests inside play, but we'll see which way they're inclined, as dupreeh will throw the initial incendiary towards main entrance. The bomb remains at T-spawn, so nothing too quick coming through. EnVy have tried to mix up the pace. A couple of defaults presented. Strong grenade as well. That does a lot of damage as Glaive now. He's had enough, Alex. He wants to show he can continue to frag here. Nice double for himself. Solid hold towards Pop Dog from dupreeh, and Nifty left alone once again. Another fast round here. They tried to go slow, but Astralis took the game to them. Yeah,
just bring in the fight. Nothing you could do about that one. Astralis look like they want to get this one over and done with. Aggression towards EnVy to destabilize. Not let anything get set up by EnVy's quasi-buy, but into the full. We'll get to see those Kriegs in action once again. Seems Android's more comfortable on the AK-47. Open things up. Gets the shot. Doesn't quite connect though. dupreeh safely across.
Well, at this point, I'll have to go back into the default. One towards EnVy, a couple working the brown halls. That's Fugly and Ryan. Mages has full control of the Pop Dog room. He'll be dueling against Som this round. Exchanging bullets. Only damage inflicted so far is via the HE towards Nifty. Oh, that's a lot of damage done. Fugly will be falling back with his tail between his legs as Device tries to find the first. And that's surely going to be the trade here. Fumbles his movement a little bit there, caught on the server. Android will punish him for it. Early pick once again. EnVy have had plenty of these. Haven't been able to convert many of them. Just a note, Device on 20 frags now. Had some very strong moments here. Looking to find his form again. Wasn't happy with his individual performance over in New York. Tweeted about it. See if he can finish the job off here in the next few rounds. For now, though, 50 seconds remaining. 2 players towards EnVy. Glaive, slow game from him so far, but the flashbang is spot on. Got to find the first frag here. Drops an incendiary. Really nice play. Android can do nothing about that. He should burn here. Yeah, it's a nice trade, but doesn't win them the round. 3 on 3.
Zipek still responsible for his signature site, and they start to regroup. 30 seconds. It doesn't look like they'll commit.
They've got 3 smokes, which they will start deploying now. That's going to be sent down to the second track here, one towards connector as well. Zipek, though, as long as he delays the bomb, gets a frag for his efforts, they should be absolutely fine. This is a classic position of his, and will it work out? Let's get the first dink and the bomb down. That's the time purchased, Alex. Now he stays alive, that's fantastic. 1.5 kills. Leaves him in a viable situation for his teammates. Down to Fugly, he knows he needs to step up here. Jumps himself up towards the connector. Lovely work, and now a 1 versus 1 against one of the world's best. It's going to be Ryan with just 6 points of health and no chance. Just has to fire bullets in his general direction there, and he takes him down. It is going to be match point. Let me say that again, match point, best of 1 for Astralis, as it will be a full defuse. No problem at all. They've had plenty of close rounds here, EnVy, but it doesn't really count for much.
I mean, so many 2v2s, 3v3s. It's been kept level on the opener, but more often than not, it's just those closing performances from Astralis. Their individuals find it every single time. Magisk here with a 1v2. Admittedly, the damage done by Zipex to start things off.
Yeah, there's not much Ryan could do there.
Yeah.
He was hoping to get to a safer position, hoping the timings will work in his favor. Not to be the case at all. And now it's 8 rounds in a row required on the T side. They have not taken a pause here. It'll be a single orb and 4 creeps by virtue of the maximum loss bonus and the bomb plant. So money's not an issue at this stage, but round differential certainly is. We are going to head to round number 23. Could be the final round here. Zipek's close towards the lower ramp, and he could be challenged by Buckley and Nifty, waiting to run their default here as he holds the incendiary. As soon as he spots anyone, he'll drop it. Let's get tagged up for his troubles. There's the incendiary. Nifty knows he's done damage here. He's trying to convert it quickly as he looks towards the connector. Player already rotating in, and they seem to know exactly where he is. He hasn't landed all the shots you would expect today.
Yeah, he's been given some opportunities. He's got the understanding. He's in the right spot.
Exactly. He's been in the correct positions more often than not. It's just the killing blow that doesn't seem to land on his table.
So that early presence of Nifty did draw the CTs over. Early device, but Glaive too. Which puts Android in a prime position to catch someone. Nifty, however, misses another. And given a chance, very, very slim chance, but he had a go. And now this is where things get awkward for the T side. Once they start to piece it together, work out where you are. Magisk, he did more than that. Eliminates Android with a quick one. Glaive making his choice between a smoke and a molly, and it's the wrong choice. He's caught with an aid in his hand. It's traded by Magisk, a secondary AWPer that you called a dark horse, and it seems like that horse is galloping towards closing this one out.
24 seconds remain. Smoke to get out of Pop Dog, but it leads to the demise of Som now. Final round, we said, is looking very likely at this point. Dupree confirms it. Ryan, 4 versus 1. No chance, no hope, and he's got 10 seconds. A plan would even be unrealistic at this stage. He jumps around, looks overall done here, 16-7. A decent performance from EnVy. The scoreline doesn't do it justice. They had many opportunities there to make it much closer. You can see they're competitive. They can frag on this level, but overall, to take down a team like Astralis, you have to be winning out in those clutches, and they couldn't quite convert those today, Alex.
No, not quite today. You can see smiles on the face of Som and Astralis, but I think it was just a case of perhaps a little too tall of an order. You know, you're coming into DreamHack Masters, you got the qualifier out of the way. That was enough of a, trials and tribulations. But you go up against the world number 2, according to HLTV. I mean, you know what? That's going to be a challenge on any map.
It was still an entertaining game. We had lots of high-flying action, lots of clutch potential, but no victory here, and it's the result we all expected. That's all for us for now. We'll throw it back to the desk and see what they thought.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, it was not an easy one, and, well, what was an uphill battle just never really went their way at the end. But they did put up a good fight. The casters do make a pretty good point there. Welcome back to the analyst desk here of the CORSAIR DreamHack Masters. I do have Pimp. I do have that of Potter here with me on the desk. You might know him as Christina Jacob, but the reality is, what do we know EnVy as now that they've gotten 7 rounds against Astralis?
You know, I mean, they did, the score line doesn't show it, of course, but we know in Counter-Strike, sometimes what shows on paper isn't necessarily what translated specifically in-game. EnVy had some good looks. They had those opening kills. They just weren't able to convert that mid-round game. There was a couple of rounds where they were getting very close to that bomb site, but Astralis are so good in those tight positions and forcing EnVy into those choke points that make them so uncomfortable. They weren't able to convert those rounds.
I think it was as expected. I mean, EnVy, they put up a good fight. They made it somewhat competitive, as you said, but in the end, Astralis is just a much better team, a much better unit, and Device having a great showing once again.
Speaking of Device, I think we're going to get to hear from him kind of directly. I mean, Frankie's there in the middle, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and check out what the winners Astralis.
Yes, I am with Device. And coming into this best of one, what's the pressure on you? Because I know you weren't happy with your performance in New York.
I mean, like, the pressure is always on the favorite team. We haven't had much time since we arrived yesterday, so it's always a little bit rough trying to deal with the jet lag and also preparing for games like this. Yeah, obviously it went really great. There are good teams with a lot of good individuals, so for us it was more trying to play the team game, and yeah, everything just worked out.
How was the first half for you though? Because I imagine there were a little bit of tiredness. You know, the trademark slow start came out, but obviously flawless CT half.
Yeah, as you said, it was a little bit of a slow start, but that's just how it is if you don't really like play that well on train. You need to get opening kills and you need to have nades for execute. So sometimes you will maybe save a little bit more. And in general, they were just really good at like getting us off guard at some points. And yeah, when we went to the CT, it was just a lockdown. Sipix was playing so good inside, so it was quite easy to like play 4-man outside, and it is hard for them to really have some good execute. So everything just worked out the way we expected.
Why train and not Dust 2?
Ooh, like we were actually trying to go after the Inferno. We thought that they were gonna play Inferno because we lost twice to EG, but yeah. Then we just had Train prepared as the second pick, so yeah, it was either Train or Inferno for us.
Maybe a case of Nifty playing to his own strengths as well in the veto there. Now finally, a little bit annoyed because in New York we never got to see you play Vertigo against EG. If you both make it to the playoffs, are we finally going to see it?
We have practiced a lot against them on Vertigo, so yeah, sure, we're going to see it. Hopefully it's time for us to get some revenge. They played so great in New York and they were the best team at that tournament, but yeah, it's a new tournament and we will prepare even better this time.
Well, we love to see it and we hope to see it. So thank you so much, Device. Good luck in your best of 3 this afternoon, and let's head back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Device putting it in words that we can all understand. Astralis wanting to make a statement right here in the beginning, and they did get that opportunity and succeeded, moreover, over EnVyUs.
They did, and I mean, EnVyUs, they lost both pistols, and the thing that concerns me a little bit moving forward is that they weren't able to convert those force buys in the second round, and we know that SG coming into such fruition, teams really strategizing around that gun to get their forward players with that gun in their position for those openings, and they weren't able to make those second rounds competitive, and I think that's what's really necessary, specifically in these BO1s, to go as the underdog up against the #2 team in the world and attempt to make it competitive.
Sure, they needed some momentum, they needed to win some pistol rounds, and as we spoke about before, right, EnVyUs had a decent showing here, they had a decent look, they showcased that in the buy rounds when they had the full utility, they could go toe-to-toe with Astralis. There was even a point in the game where I felt that Astralis were, I wouldn't say kind of losing it, but they're trying to force a little bit too much upon EnVyUs, and in that sense, I think that, you know, that's EnVyUs doing good than rather than Astralis playing bad.
Maybe that's more like a round of 10 thing right there. Perhaps is that where you want to pick it up, Jacob?
I think that's where I want to pick it up. Yeah.
Let's do it.
We got a little map overview here. The score is 5-4 for Astralis, and this is a round that you don't normally see Astralis make too often, right? What's going to happen here is that the Glaive has thrown a flash over the middle, and you're going to see the entirety of Astralis just rush out of team main. Now, if we erase it and let it play out, you can see how disjointed it ends up getting for Astralis. As soon as the pre goes down right here, which he will in a second, you can see how Sipnix is just left alone while he has 2 teammates not really out of it. So you have Sipnix all by himself right there. You have Glaive and Device still caught within team middle, and you have still 3 guys alive from Team EnVyUs outside. So it ends up being Sipnix just trying to do a hero play, running in towards CT main and trying to create something, while Device and Glaive, they're still stuck around team main. So it's one of those scenarios where you have 2 guys up here and you have Sipnix down here in CT main. It's a chaotic round. It's not something you normally see coming out of Astralis, right? And I think that was due to EnVyUs at this point. They got 4 rounds in a row. They're putting on a lot of pressure on Astralis, and they kind of forced them to do something they don't normally do. After this round, though, they fell back. They played the standard Astralis way, and we didn't really see anything else, you know, out of this scenario. So a little bit of an unorthodox round for Astralis, but it got to showcase that EnVyUs actually did put pressure on Astralis, and they did force them to do some of the stuff that we don't want them to do against the best teams.
You know what I want to know is a little bit of the insight from the EnVyUs camp. So I think we're going to have that opportunity right about now. It's going to be Nifty on the other end of the big screen. Nifty, can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, man, tough luck there in facing up against Astralis first, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we were pretty excited to play against them. I think we feel like we had a really good chance, but it kind of just crumbled a couple rounds on CD side, you know, mistakes of my own even. But once we moved to T side, I just don't think we were rehearsed enough to deal with even just the basic stuff that they were doing. So unlucky, I guess, right there.
Hey, Nifty. It seemed like you guys were getting really close into that bomb site on that outer yard towards that train. You even more often than not were up a number trying to get into that bomb site in a post-plant scenario. Have you guys developed into far enough along in your team's development to be able to handle like those mid-round calls and adjust and improvise in those types of scenarios?
Yes and no. There were a few comments that were made, kind of just pointing out like, hey guys, like when we're in that mid-round where we have a number up and we are in that yard position, let's slow down and let's hold all the choke points because we're probably going to get more peaks. But it will also lessen the just level of hecticness. So we're doing okay at it, but we're still not good enough to where like we can handle like Astralis maybe in that situation, because they're going to just keep the pressure on. They're confident, their communication's flowing, and they're flashing for each other, things like that. They're taking contact in the right areas, so we really need to make sure that we're on point when we do need to slow down and play out that mid-round, but we weren't doing it well enough in that game.
Nifty, I see that you qualify 2 here by beating a United. You beat them several times. You beat up on a Swole Patrol. You're really kind of making a splash over in NA. What's it going to take to get you guys to make an international splash?
I mean, obviously more time, of course. But I mean, all of us are just going to have to elevate to a higher level of play, and that'll come with more time. We just have to become a little bit more comfortable. I mean, this is our first tournament with Ryan. Ryan's been great for us, but again, like we're very good at talking things through. It's a very healthy environment in the team, which is good. So it's really a perfect place for us to keep growing. So everything is going great there, but yeah, I mean, it's just going to be time, experience, and we really need to look back and just make sure that we kind of keep developing, from our mistakes and stuff like that.
Players often hesitate to talk about personal goals coming into a tournament. It's always more fun, to talk about the team goals and how the work of a team is. Do you have any personal goals coming into this tournament? Is there anything you want to showcase the world that you can do as a player?
As a player, I think I'm so team-oriented for my personal self. It's just I really just want to be able to do my job. And all the roles for all of our strats, our setups, our rounds, the way that we've been creating our system in practice, I just want to be able to fulfill that to the best of my ability. I'm not trying to be a superstar. That's not the goal here. There's no I in team, right? So, I mean, but as a team, like we came to this tournament, we want to win. Our goal is to win. What's the point of coming to a tournament and say like, let's just reach playoffs? Because what happens if we actually reach playoffs? Well, then, okay, now we're complacent, right? And like, it's really, you can't just like move up a goal. You can't be like, let's make playoffs. We made playoffs. Now what? Then we're just going to lose out. I experienced that before on past teams. So, I mean, the goal for us is to win. And regardless of what people think, I mean, we're just going to give it our best no matter what.
There you go. And that's just about all that you can do, Nifty. We're going to let you go right now and then conclude our conversation up here, buddy. Cool. All right. Well, not much to say there on the end of things. Yeah, let's just kind of put it all to a head right here because we are going to be going to a break. But before we do that, is there anything else that we could possibly say about Astralis versus EnVy?
It was good to see Device playing well. I think we talked about it pre-game as well. If Astralis is a team that wants to compete for the championship here and get that next ring in the line, then you need some of these players to step up to the next level. Device had a great showing. He was very good with the AWP. He was good in the pistol rounds. Seemed to have an easy time against EnVy. So if he can keep that level up, then that's a good sign for Astralis moving on in the tournament.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, one more thing about Astralis. I think another really impressive thing, of course, is Astralis. They are one of the best teams, but they were able to improvise and adjust so quickly in that first half. As you mentioned earlier, Jacob, they were down 4-0, but then they started turtling up towards that bomb site, towards that old bomb on that outside yard, and it really helped adjust and make them win out pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what we've got. We've got one on the side of Astralis. That means one on the side of the tug-of-war for the Danish versus Swedish battle that we do have going on here at the CORSAIR DreamHack Masters. But it also means, coming up after the break, that we have another matchup coming your way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't you go anywhere because I have EnVy versus Fnatic, and the Swedes are looking to put one on the board here in this big old battle of a tug-of-war right here at the CORSAIR DreamHack Masters Malmö 2019.